some small cracks are emerging in Trump's wall, his Republican Party. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not only standing firm on wanting to release the Epstein files to see if there's any evidence that Trump was involved in raping young girls, but she's also saying that she opposes the Republican position on the shutdown. She agrees with the Democrats that the Republicans should go along with extending the Obamacare credits, the Affordable Care Act credits, so that people's insurance rates don't rise. Why? Well, because one of her kids just got a notice that his insurance rate is going to double. But she says, I'm carving my own lane on tweet. You got Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt. I saw his wife on MSNBC this morning, actually, which was interesting, too. Talking about the challenge that women face, women in poverty face, and how it can be multi-generational. I was surprised. But he said that sending Texas National Guard troops to Chicago or Los Angeles or Portland is like a bad idea. The point he made, he said Oklahomans would lose their mind if Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker sent troops down to Oklahoma during the Biden administration. He's right. Utah's governor, Republican Governor Spencer Cox, he went on X over the weekend and said that he was less than pleased with how they're killing off green projects, including in Utah. He said, quote, this is how we lose the AI/energy arms race to China. Vivek Ramaswamy was critical of them trying to get Jimmy Kimmel fired, as was Ted Cruz. Susan Collins of Maine is upset with Russell Vogt, firing all these people. Laura Loomer is upset. And Trump is absolutely underwater. So, meanwhile, Mike Johnson, who is terrified of naked bike riders, by the way. Mike Johnson came out in a call with the House Freedom Caucus and basically just told us what their strategy is. A rescission is where Congress says, you know that money that we appropriated 3 months ago, we're taking it back. So what he's saying is that, sure, eventually we'll go along with the Democrats and we'll fund the Affordable Care Act to open the government back up again. But then just a couple months later, we'll pass another piece of legislation through reconciliation, which only requires 50 votes in the Senate, that simply takes that money back, a rescission. Here's his exact quote. This was in a call to the Freedom Caucus. He said, quote, we worked on rescissions, and there'll be more of that, I expect, in the days ahead. Now, we would like to do another rescission bill this fall before the end of the calendar year and potentially a third one in the spring where we will also show more and more fiscal responsibility. Translation, if the Republicans and Democrats in the Senate work out a deal to fund Obamacare, that's fine. We'll open the government back up, and then a couple months later, we will pass through reconciliation. See, reconciliation bills have to have nothing more than either raising taxes or lowering taxes, raising spending or lowering spending. They have to be about money, and they can be passed with only 50 votes in the Senate. They cannot be filibustered. The continuing resolution, because it not only funds a whole bunch of government agencies, but it does a bunch of other things that are necessary to keep the government open. It's not just about money. That can be filibustered. So, the Democrats are saying we're going to filibuster this, and you're going to have to come up with 60 votes to break the filibuster, or 50 votes to change the Senate rules, which John Thune's unwilling to do.
1 minute.
So basically what little Mike Johnson is saying here is, when this thing gets resolved, and it will, we all know the government is not going to stay shut down forever. When this thing gets resolved, we'll just break the deal. We're perfectly happy to lie to Democrats. He's literally bragging about it to the House Freedom Caucus, which is I call them the Cokehead Caucus because they're the guys who are so heavily funded by, the Koch brothers and their network of right-wing billionaires. And here he is on this phone call saying, again, and I quote, we worked on rescissions and there'll be more of that we expect in the days ahead. Now, when we do another reconciliation bill this fall before the end of the calendar year and potentially a third one in the spring where we will show more and more fiscal responsibility. In other words, sure, we'll go ahead and give those little people a little help with their Obamacare. And then we'll just take it away. We don't need to be honest. We don't need to keep our word to Democrats. After all, politics is war, didn't you know? And we've got a country here to take over.